What's up YouTube, it's Frayed Hero. Thanks to Fighters Collection, I'm excited to play Vanguard again after a couple of months of just me playing the play. So, this is my Sweep Command deck profile post Fighters Collection because this deck is super fun, except for, the usual whiffing that you can do in a Sweep Command deck, but that's what comes with it. And for those of you guys who actually watch my streams of like Lock on Victory or whatever, then you guys will know my luck with Sweep Command, and it's basically the same as it was in game as it is in real life. But anyway, I still love the card, and we'll jump into the deck profile. So first Thunder starter, because it's the one that gets you the Superior Ride Sweep Command, and you can use it during your opponent's turn, important to note for future card choices shown off in the video. 4 of the new heal triggers, because countercharging is really important in Narukami if you want to at least get the most value out of your cards, because you want to try to use as many skills as you can to accelerate Thunderstrike or retire their cards. And we're running 4 Recefs, even though it's not a Vanquisher deck. Voltage is a card, VMAX is a card, and it helps you get your soul count, or just make your Vanquishers high enough to hit numbers so that they'll be more inclined to no-guard you and you get your Zoros effect off. But yeah, getting Soul, really important in this deck because you burn a lot of Soul in this deck because of Sweep Command. Running 4 draw triggers, Eradicator names, important in some builds but not in this build, but just in case I wanted to switch around grade 3s, grade 3s, then we stick with the Eradicator triggers just for that, just in case. We want to draw to our rear guards. I mean, you could probably arguably make those stands or crits, but I just like having rear guards, and damage draws save lives. And we're running 4 stands, rainbow triggers. This is the Brawler stand. For those of you who don't know what this one does, basically if your opponent's rear guard leaves the field from the front row, you can retire this unit and kill the other unit behind it. So it's like really good to counter rush, and you can also just use it to kill a column in like your battle phase if you have something that can retire again if you really need to get that extra board wipe present, or if you maybe had it in your field already and then you like stride Vanquisher, you can kill the column and get your VMAX a little easier depending on the matchup. But yeah, it's kind of in between this stand and the Vian. The thing about Vian though is I really don't want to guard with it if I have it, which is also kind of the same about the crit triggers and heal triggers, so it's really awkward. So I'll be more because with this stand I'm more inclined to just guard with it early if I have it, unless I'm really expecting a rush so I can counter rush them by keeping the stand. But yeah, and it is a little harder in Vanquisher, not a Vanquisher deck, to get the stand skill off, since I only really have Voltage Horn to trigger, or my on hits, so, or well, I guess Sweep Command on ride too, but yeah, the timing is just really hard. Grade 1s, 4 GPGs because countercharging, 4 stride fodders because we want to stride as consistently as possible, and this is the choice that probably a fair amount of Narukami players don't like or agree with, but we're running 6 vanillas. We're hitting 19s with Chatura, we're riding 8Ks so we don't get Wingle rushed, because that is pretty annoying. Just in general, like the counter rush with this card, the same like thought process behind 10k vanillas, except on a little different scale, because 10k vanilla is a little more important with the grade lock game, but this is just as good in the early game. Plus, of course, Chatura, whether you go first or second, it makes going second with Chatura way better. But if you go first and you have a means of protecting your Chatura, then on the turn you ride your grade 2, you should be at 1 damage, and then you can get the basically guaranteed 19 hit with Chatura, and then the very next turn, if you can keep it alive, they're at grade 2. They're usually on a 9k, and then you're hitting 19, and then you get a second one hit. I mean, you might not have the counter blast, but yeah, it happens. Grade 2s, 4 Chaturas, one of the best rear guards in Narukami ever made. Like I mentioned with the vanilla, you know, 19 columns, really strong. I guess there's some debate about that, but actually, like, even with random Thunderstrike and stuff, I find myself actually hitting good numbers because of the awkward, like, 19s with Chatura. You have 3 bound, you're hitting 28s. Versus a 16 column hitting 25. Just like really small notices and number changes like that are kind of interesting. Or like 17s with a 9k in front. Same scenario with 3 bound, it becomes a 26. Just really small number changes that happen thanks to the random 3k boosts. And as mentioned, there's voltage horns because it is a way to get off your sweep commands in the battle phase without hitting. So it's really important for that. And 4 thunder booms because Eradicator name, just in case, again. And also because it is a 10k vanilla, counter rush, counter for the grade lock game, all that good stuff. 10k vanillas being a thing again is kind of funny. Grade 3s, we are running, of course, the 4 sweep commands because it's a sweep command deck. Fun facts, of course, with the G-Guard, you can limit break on their turn much easier now, since it's guaranteed retiring, not like the other G-Guard that we had, which was Thunderstrike 4, or, well, basically Thunderstrike 4 to retire anything, and it has to be rested, so, yeah, really sad, but, yeah, sweet command. And because we're fun slash, there's actually some pretty good things you can do with this. We're running 2 Vowing Swords. Yeah, we're going back to Break Ride for this because we can Superior Break Ride on your opponent's turn when you trigger your starter due to the G-Guard. So, if you're not playing against a Retire deck, you probably would want to be on this, unless you're somehow out of sweep commands, then that's a problem. But you can also Break Ride, Limit Break, or Break Ride, skill, and then you Limit Break, you kill their front row, draw a card, and then Stride. So it's like you still have some stuff you can do if you don't. But yeah, the Superior Break Riding on their turn is really strong because you're guaranteed to kill their front row. You become a 26k with Limit Break, or 31 if you choose to pay the cost twice for Counter Blast 4, Still Blast 4. But yeah, you are a 26 base usually. So if you do manage the Superior Ride, whatever was attacking, if it was like a Vanguard attack, then when you Superior Ride, it doesn't hit because you're a new Vanguard. So they just triple drive, and it doesn't matter what power they get or whatever. Guard break, nothing. You're a new Vanguard, so it doesn't matter. And then just being a 26k body is also nice in case they're a restanding Vanguard or something. Plus, you don't have to worry about the rear guards because you kill the front row. So pretty neat stuff there. Actually can help you survive some really scary GB8s if you manage to save this for one of their big push turns. Or the Turbo Spike deck, because that appeared at our locals, and Off Topic Games posted top 4 with them. I was kind of wondering how I was going to do with that matchup, and then I realized I can do this and it'll be a 26k, and then it's not as bad. But yeah, that's why we're running Break Ride. And we're running 1 Vanquisher to round off our 3s. It's searchable, and it's actually a really good first ride in a lot of matchups, since you don't want to be on your sweep command unless you have the heal and you know you want to get the guaranteed retire on their front row or something because they're a really fast deck, like maybe Saint Guard. Assuming you don't have, Break Ride and don't want to like wait till Limit Break. Oh, you have to wait till Limit Break actually either way, but just in case. So you could arguably run Limit Break removers instead of the 8k vanillas, just so you can be at Limit Break at any point in the game. But you're still going to need to open Counter Blast for at least the Sweep Command skill, so just keep that in mind. lastly, we're moving on to the G zone. Sabreeze, kind of self-explanatory. This deck, I mean, you have Sweet Command, so you have a Limit Break, but it's only on ride outside of when you G-Guard. So you kind of want something to play off of, since once you get to GB 1 and you have the Counter Blast, you can go into Voltage, and then countercharging is like not as bad now since we do have the new G-Guard, so, or with the new heal trigger, so we get to countercharge the 1 at least, so it's something. We get back part of our Counter Blast cost, and 4 voltages, very self-explanatory on that one. It's like their best stride. Helps get to GB8, gives you the Zoros effect without having to run Zoros, even though some people probably disagree with striding this first all the time. Most cases I will stride these 2 in a row no matter what happens, unless they're at high damage, in which case I might just go to Conquest to push, but it's really hard to consistently get them to high damage outside of just dropping weirs and swinging, since we only play 4 crit. But it's a situational, plus it'll help you get to VMAX faster, just in case you actually want to VMAX, since VMAX is of course a win con in its own and whatnot. And you can always save it for after the GB8, since your rear guards are just going to be huge. 2 Conquests, because Conquest is not as important anymore against the matchups that you normally would be conquesting, like Magia and Grand Blue. You kind of just have your GB8 for at least those matchups to get Thunderstrike. So once you get set up for those, and plus you have VMAX, so if they don't have rears, then of course then you can cheese wins that way too. So Conquest is becoming less necessary in my opinion. And as mentioned, we're running 2 VMAXs. Pretty self-explanatory because of extra damage, punching boards. Really good for the Link Joker matchup because denying them rear guards denies their hard plus, or it counters their hard plussing that they get off of not guarding your rear guard attacks. Plus, it also is defensively good because they're gonna run out of steam just as well. So the less rear guards they have, the less you have to guard. So it's gonna bring you to the GB8 territory, and then it's gonna make their game a lot more awkward too. And of course, it does have the deal extra damage. So even if they guard you, if you manage to get Thunderstrike 5, then you can deal an extra damage and accelerate the game faster. As mentioned, also GB8, running 1 copy. It's kind of awkward because I do find myself wanting a second copy sometimes. It's actually kind of nice for those situations where you just turbo through all your Vanquishers, or specifically voltages, so the second one doesn't do anything, because in slow matchups, like against Kagero, I find myself needing to go into this at least twice. Not sure why, at least in Overlord. No one's playing Blade Master right now, so I won't actually know, but GB8 is really strong. Kind of kills like the Ritual matchup, or makes them have to like Drag Driver, which unfortunately most people at my locals who play Luard still play Drag Driver, so they can still get utility. Only 1 player, I think, who plays Luard other than me has the meta build without Drag Drivers, so yeah, really awkward. And the last G unit, or grade 4, that's not a G Guardian we're running, is Voltech. I kind of want to swap this for another GB8. The reason why I'm running this is also for Link Joker matchup, to help get Thunderstrike higher for like VMAX and or kill board, essentially. Getting field control in that matchup, like I mentioned, is kind of important, and it's the only thing you can do since your rears won't really be swinging, since you won't really have any rears in there. So yeah, that's the reason why we have it. Still considering a second GB8 in that slot, but we'll see what happens. G guards, 2 of the new G guard, really good G guard because it retire binds, and I'm also kind of liking the fact that if you intercept first and then you G-guard, you might be able to meet the requirement for the 2 or less rear guards. So you can hit 2 of their board with this, and then sweep command, hit another card. So you can kill 3 like that, or if you break Rye, then you can potentially kill like 4 units, depending if they retire certain ones or not. But yeah, that thing is why you want to steer heals all the time. We're running 2 of the plus 10k and basically the Thunderstrike 4 retire unit, because it's our highest shield value that we can get guarding, and in that off chance we get the extra skill off, it's kind of nice. And the last G-Guardian is basically the new Gleam. Some people run Dismal, some people just run 3 Bulwarks. I like it because we want to see certain rear guards, so you can drop and draw those like dead cards in your hand to try to get rears instead of having a handful of triggers, because oh lordy do I have triggers in my hand a lot. And the amount of times I seem to GV8 and just drop triggers to attack with. It's kind of high actually, so it is nice to potentially have that dig, and if not, it just gets flipped up for the other G guard. So yeah, that's the entire deck. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys later.